Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host this evening, Logan Landers. And joining me on Wednesday to talk about the LSU Tigers 2021 team preview is my boy, Jay McLovin. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, I'm ready to toss some LSU, Mr. Orgeron football. Let's go.
Woo. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, well, before we get started, though, be sure if you guys enjoy this video to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Whether you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, we appreciate all the comments, all the likes, and all the shares. It makes our world better, makes our day better. So thank you guys so much for doing that, and be sure to keep it up. Also, we have a podcast, as you very well know. Go check us out on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, iTunes, anywhere you like podcasts. We are over there. We upload daily episodes, and you can listen to it whether we're 15 minutes long doing a team preview like this. We have amazing interviews as well with former coaches, former players, Hall of Famers even, and guys who just got drafted in the 2020 NFL draft. So go check that out, and be sure to leave us a review over there. So Jay, let's get into this, man. The LSU Tigers. Can you give the Tiger fans out there a little bit of encouragement going into the season? Because last year it was a little rough.
Yeah. Hey, look, guys, man. Last year was really bad for LSU in terms of COVID and what that meant for their program. 5-5, obviously, in 2020 was not exactly what Ed Orgeron was hoping for. But he has vowed that he is going to bring this club back to 2019 form. He brought in a new offensive coordinator. He brought in a new defensive coordinator. So. And let's be honest, they get 16 starters and their kicker coming back. So most of the vets are coming back for 2021. So that gives you hope that this group is not coming back inexperienced. They're coming back with experience. And you know what? Now I don't know how far they're going to go yet. We'll have to wait and see on that one because I don't think they're ranked all that high. They're not in the top 8 or 10. So, but that doesn't mean they can't get there. And, like I said, if Orgeron has confidence in them, then hey, who are we to say otherwise?
Yeah, for me, the big key is how's the quarterback going to be? Because, you lost Joe Burrow, unfortunately, and we saw what happened to him. He got hurt. And then it was a curse or something last year with LSU, man. Miles Brennan, he waited all this time to start. He finally got his chance, and then he got hurt. And then he was out for the year, and that was pretty much it for for production wise. Finished the season right at 500. You had the guys come in helping out. You had T.J. Finley, Max Johnson. They tried their best. I'll give them that. It said that Johnson took some snaps with the first team with the offense this year in practice. So we'll see. So that doesn't, to me, if Johnson is taking those snaps at the for the first team offense. That tells me that Brennan might still be hurt or that he might still have some lingering effects. He did have an abdominal tear, so that is, a pretty harmful injury that's going to take a while to come back from. So do you think that Brennan is going to start the season as the QB, or do you think they're going to wait and bring him in later?
No, I still think Brennan's going to start. I always like it when you have enough competition at the quarterback level. So they got Johnson, Finley, and Brennan. I mean, look, you got plenty of people there. Look, somebody's going to get the start. Let's be honest. Somebody's going to get the start. It's just, but having somebody push you or having somebody be competitive with you, it's not a bad thing. Actually, but it's probably going to bring out the best in all of them. So, no, I don't really see there being a problem at the quarterback position. I think they're going to be just fine. I think it's too early. I think it's way too early and premature to rule out Brennan, but it is a concern, like you said. So it's not like it's not a concern, but I'm not gonna put any kind of weight behind it until I see something more official come out on it, man. I'm not really worried about that. I tell you honestly, it's good. I tell you, man, I think it's good that they have competition at that position. If anything, that just makes it tells me that they're not relying solely on Brennan. They do have other options in case that doesn't work out. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah, and the only reason I brought that up is because, Coach Ed Orgeron did say that the competition is open. He said the best man's going to win.
Yeah.
And so it's a two-man race. Finley transferred. He went over to Auburn. So it's between Mac Johnson and it's between Miles Brennan, honestly. So which one of those guys is going to come out? Who's going to prove to be the better man in spring practice? Who's going to look the best? Who's going to look the sharpest? And who's going to start the season as the LSU quarterback? That remains to be seen. But let's keep on talking about this team. they have a few good, like you said, they're bringing back a lot of people. I think they saw that last year was not a good year. They decided to come back for another season, try and reclaim their status, because we all know they won that natty a couple of years ago, won that national championship. They're trying to get back to that form. So this isn't a bad team. They just had a bad year. They had injuries. They said COVID. It was just a lot going on. You just have those seasons as sports fans. Just any sports team, you can say, like, look, this just wasn't our year. Nothing went right, and that's how it was for LSU. So I think that they have something to prove. They have a good core. They have good running backs. They had John Emery. They have Tyrion Davis-Price. They did pretty solid last year for the running back position. They ran for around 800 yards, had a couple of touchdowns as well. So they are definitely helping out. So I think that, LSU, they're not a perfect team. I don't think they're going to get back to the national championship or nothing this year. But I definitely think they can improve. But, Jay, we got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about that defense. Because that defense that was the death of LSU last year, was that defense, man. What do you got to say about that?
Hey, before I go on the defense, I do want to point out also that, to wrap up the offensive side of it, that they do have all 5 of their offensive linemen coming back, so they are going to have good protection. So keep that in mind. I mean, they're really good on the offensive side of the ball. It's not going to, but like you said, the defense. Now that's another issue, right? They ranked last in defense in 2020. So the positive, Logan, is that they can't go anywhere lower. So all they can do now is go up. We didn't hit the bottom.
That's true.
So they surrendered 323 passing yards per game. They allowed 34 points per game. So let's be honest, there's nowhere to go but up. They brought in the defensive coordinator Jones from the Vikings, who vowed to bring back the physical style of play that LSU's been known for in the past. But honestly, 34 points per game, that's the most in school history since 1952. Ooh. So last year was not LSU's finest moment. But like I said, they got a new coordinator, they got a new style, they got a new philosophy. So not only from the offensive side with their new coordinator, but also with the defensive side of their new coordinator. And I tell you what, I think you're going to see a whole lot of different football come out of LSU next year going forward, Logan.
Yeah, like you said, the only way they can go is up, because that was the worst defense in college football. They gave up way too many points, way too many turnovers. It did not look good last year, all in all. It did not look good. And they made a quick change. They got a brand new defensive coordinator coming over from Minnesota. So we'll see how he can do. We'll see if he can step this team up. He said that he was going to try and get LSU back to playing more of a physical style of defense. So we'll see how the Tigers respond to that. But I think that they're going to improve, obviously. They're getting 4 seniors back on the defensive line, so that helps. You get Ali J, Andre Anthony, and then you get Glenn Logan, Neil Farrell back as well. So that's going to help them out. You get some guys who know this play style, who are going to help out, who have some experience. But the key for me is, what are you going to do at linebacker, though? So you got some guys who, Micah Bakersfield, he missed spring practice because, he couldn't keep his grades up. He had academic issues. So he might get his spot taken. It's just a big question mark for me at that linebacker position. Do you have any guys who you have your eye on this upcoming season for the offense or for the defense?
Yeah, like I said, I think they're getting Clark back. The one guy I'm really kind of looking forward to is seeing how that Clemson transfer, Mike Jones, boosts that linebacker position. So I'm waiting to see what Mike Jones does, that Clemson transfer. I think they brought him in for a reason, like I said, to boost that linebacking core. And obviously, like I said, Baskerville, with academics, hopefully he can get that up. I think the linebacker is in question, but there are some positives to it. And I am kind of waiting. I guess that's the biggest look. You know what you got in the quarterback and Brennan. You know what you got in your running backs, and you know what you got in your number one wideout. And Keyshawn Boot. So I think the biggest thing I want to look forward to or see how they do is that, like you said, is that Mike Jones from Clemson and what he can do in that linebacking core.
Yeah, that's not bad. I actually have 2 guys who I have my eyes on, and those are the CBs, the cornerbacks, because they're not bad. Like I said, the whole team got abused on defense last year. They just got the ball thrown all over the place. But they have Derek Ricks. Yeah. Yes, sir. Stingley and Ricks. Those are 2 guys who are solid, who are going to be in the NFL one day, and who have been, they've gotten All-American nominee. They've been nominated and they got picked for that squad. Stingley in 2019, then Ricks last year in 20. So they have talent there. It's just they got to build around basically everything else in the backups. So I think that those two guys are going to have another good year. Then they're probably going to head off to the NFL the way it's looking, as long as they keep playing the way they've been playing. I think the transfer from Georgia, Major Burns, is coming in. I think he's going to help out. He's going to, go for the safety. And I think that, LSU, they're not going to be as bad as they were last year. I think they're going to have a better year. But, Jay, it ain't going to be easy because I'm looking over their schedule, and they play a few pretty tough teams. And, I mean, being an SEC school, they have a rough set of teams. Do you have any teams you have your eyes on who are going to cause this team some trouble?
Well, I mean, let's be honest, I think the big three, obviously, Florida at home, Alabama and Bama, and A&M at home.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, I think those are going to be the three biggest challenges. I mean, you do have Ole Miss away and Auburn at home, but nothing's going to be as big a test as Florida, Bama, and A&M. And hey, listen, they can pull off an upset if they take one out of that three or two out of that three. Hey, that's a win. If they get one out of the three, that's a win. Honestly,
yeah, no doubt.
No, I think that the biggest questions for me is like you said, what are they going to do with the quarterback? What are they going to do with the tight end? What are they going to do with the linebackers? Those are your three big questions right there. And one out of the three, which is the quarterback position, is much more favorable than the other two.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But yeah, that schedule, it ain't easy. For a team who I wouldn't say is rebuilding per se, because it's not like they had a horrible season.
No.
But for a team who is not as dominant as they once were, that's fair to say, this isn't the easiest schedule to rebuild your program with, man. Because like you said, you're facing those three teams right there: Alabama, Texas A&M, and then of course Florida, who are three teams who are presumably going to be top 10s, in the top 10 at the end of the season.
Right.
So LSU, who they're looking on the outside in, looking to try and get into that top 10 program or that top 10 spot. Man, it's going to be tough. Like you said, just getting one of those, and I think the team they could do it the most, who they could do it against, is probably, probably Florida, I would say. Yeah. Because we talked about Texas A&M the other week. They are a powerhouse school. We just, our guy, Mr. Football, Vince Turner, Kevin Bull Jones just wrapped up the Alabama team preview. It's Alabama. What more do I have to say? So if they have any chance at upsetting any of those three teams I just mentioned, it's got to be Florida, I think. They lost Kyle Pitts. They lost Kyle Trask. It's a brand new season over there at Florida. They got a whole new crop of guys. That is the team you can do it against. Also, don't sleep on Auburn. They're always a tricky team, Auburn. You never know how they're going to do until the season starts, because you might think you look on paper and they look like a team that could get into that college football playoff, and then they could have a letdown year. You just never know. And
it's interesting to me, though, is that Florida, Bama, and A&M, all three of them have brand new quarterbacks coming into play. So, you don't really, it's going to be interesting to see how all three. I mean, Bama's going to be Bama, right? Nick Saban, he's going to be Nick Saban. And so, I mean, you kind of know you're with Bama, Bryce Young or whatever. Is it Bryce Young? Is that their quarterback over there at Bama? Bryce Young or Bryce something or other?
Yeah, Bryce Young. That's what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what obviously, you'll probably get a typical Nick Saban quarterback out of that. Texas, A&M, and Florida, that's kind of what I'm kind of see what they go with quarterback. But I just think it's interesting how all these teams have brand new quarterbacks coming into play. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I think just the final takeaway for me before we wrap things up is that the good thing that LSU has this year that not a whole lot of the teams we just mentioned have is veteran leadership.
Yeah.
That's it, man. They're bringing back a lot of guys who played a lot of snaps for the Tigers, who are coming back. And I think that's really going to help out the young guys who are trying to, start their careers or keep progressing as an LSU Tiger. So I think that getting those, the juniors and seniors back, that's really going to help out. And also the quarterback position, that's the other key. Who's going to be your quarterback? And if it's not one or the other, what are you going to do next? Because you got to have a good quarterback, especially in the SEC, or else they are going to eat you alive. So, man, I think overall, how many wins do you think the LSU is going to get this year, Jay? I want to get your opinion on this first. How many wins do you think they're going to rack up?
I think they'll get about 9. between 9
Yeah,
and
I
10.
could see 8 or 9. 8 or 9, pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, those are the biggest three right there. What they play, 13 games. So you figure depending on how they play at Auburn. Yeah, I think between 8 to 10, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think 9. I think, in my opinion, I think 9 is the median. So I think 9 is probably where I think they'll wind up being at. 9 and 4.
Yeah, that's solid for me. And I mean, you never know. They could get upset, or they could upset one of the 3 teams we mentioned earlier. We'll have to see. But I think that overall, man, LSU is going to have a better season. And they're definitely going to look to build off of this year going into 2022. And then I think just see how this year goes and how all of your transfers, how all your recruits coming in, how they're going to do. Right. And I think we could see LSU back competing for that college football playoff pretty soon. I don't see it this year. Though. I could see them getting in a bowl game at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. But I don't see them getting back to that college football playoff just quite yet. We'll have to see how they're going to do, though. But I definitely think they could get there pretty soon. But hey, if you guys have enjoyed this video here tonight, first off, thank you so much for tuning in. Whether you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, it means the world to us. Knowing that you're watching, you're commenting, you're liking, and you're sharing. Thank you guys so much. Also, if you've not already, please go over and check out our podcast. Go over to Spotify, Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio. If you have a Google or Alexa device, you can just say, hey, play 100 Yards of Football, and guess what? We'll pop up. We have episodes coming out every single day, whether it's team previews like we're doing right now, amazing interviews with legends of the past, whether it been high school legends, college, NFL, Hall of Famers even, guys who just got drafted. We've had a lot of great guests come on the show, so please go over there and check us out, check out our podcast, and be sure to leave a review. Well, hey, for the co-host for the Unscripted Sports Podcast and one of my close friends, Jay McLovin, thank you so much for coming on the show, talking some LSU Tigers tonight with me, my friend. I've been your host, Logan Landers. Hey, guys, stay tuned because we have another great team preview coming up for you in just a second.